If you are struggling, whether it is new and you're like, I thought I was one of those people that never struggled with mental health, what is happening? Or whether it is something that has been ongoing, you are so normal and there is nothing wrong with you. Hello. Another lovely day. How's everyone doing? I decided that today I'm just going to talk about my own mental health because I feel like so many people are going through the same thing.
That's great. I don't know if we've talked about your own mental health lately, so I'd love you to tell
Probably
me.
not in the last day.
No, I don't think so.
But probably a few days ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I talk about my mental health a lot, which is not a bad thing. We should talk about it more. So basically, for any of you that know my story and read my first book, I went through a really dark place after my divorce, when my kids were little, and then found various tools, including therapy, which I'm a big fan of, to, get myself healthier. And then when my son started struggling years later, my mental health took a big hit, obviously, because I was living in constant fear. And then I found that he got better, and all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, I'm actually really not okay, which was confusing to me because I was like, everything's finally better. Like I should be freaking throwing myself parties. I should be in the best mood ever. Why am I worse? But what I realized is that it was kind of like I thought I was taking care of my mental health while my son was struggling. Mm-hmm. I mean, because we're good friends, we talked about it a lot. Mm-hmm. I went to support groups with him. We went, he went to support groups individually, but then we went as a family. We went to family therapy sessions. And so I thought I was doing a good job with mental health. And what I realized after he was better and I got worse, that what I had actually been doing, I compare it to kind of like when you clean up just enough because guests are coming over. And so you move stuff off the counter, or maybe you shove some stuff under the bed, or, that's sort of, oh my gosh, I can't think of the word in English. In Croatian, it's površno, kind of shallow cleaning.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You're just kind of moving stuff away so it looks clean.
Yeah.
But what I hadn't been doing is opening every cabinet and going through it and really cleaning and organizing. And that's what my mental health needed. And so I had to do that hard work after my son got better of okay, we can't just shove stuff off the counter because the guests are coming over and fluff up the pillows, right? We actually need to do the deep cleaning. And I think that's true for so many of us, where we think we're handling our mental health. We're like, nope, I'm doing it. I'm dealing with that. I'm doing, what I need to do. But really, we're just taking care of the surface level. That's the word I was looking for.
Surface level, that's it.
The surface level stuff instead of really digging deep. And when I went really deep, stuff came up. So, and then it really helped. Therapy helped. I was on medication for a while. I'm not on medication now, but I always want to be honest with that because I cannot even believe that in this day and age, there's still a stigma about medication. We should talk about more. I was on medication for a while. I might go on it again. I don't know. But lately I've just been very blah. And I've been trying to figure it out. And I think sometimes I tend to spend, because I always like to think deep and go underneath. And I think all that stuff is important. But sometimes if we're only focused on the why, we're not actually being proactive about the how. How do I actually deal with this on a daily basis?
So when you say recently, do you mean last week? Do you mean last month?
No, it's been a little while now. And when I journal, when I talk to my therapist, when I really process it, the bottom line, which might sound really shallow and stupid to some people, is I've lost my sense of joy. I don't know how to feel joy. I don't find joy in things that I used to find joy, which scares me a little bit. Not scares me, but I don't want to say it scares me. It's more okay, hi, let's pay attention to this, kind of like a little alarm going off. Because I remember when Luca, my oldest son, was struggling with his depression, that was one of the first signs where I realized this isn't just normal teenage hormones or whatever. This is deeper, is that he wasn't finding joy in the things he used to find joy in. And it's not that I'm walking around, I mean, I'm not walking around miserable all the time. It's not to that extent.
Right.
But I also think, why wait till it's that extent, right? Sometimes we wait too long. We're like, well, it's not that bad. Or we do the really dangerous thing of like, well, what should I complain about? I don't have it as bad as this person. I tend to do that to myself where I'm like, I think back on when I was really depressed after my divorce, and I'll go, oh my gosh, how can I feel that way now? Like now I'm really happily married. I have the most supportive husband. I literally feel like my marriage is stronger than ever. And then I was divorced and, going through a lot of heartache and bitterness and all kinds of stuff. Or I'll say to myself, oh my gosh, back then I had no money. I was sleeping on a floor next to my kid's bed because we're sharing a small room, and I was on food stamps. And now I have a nice house that I really like, and I have enough money in my bank account. So we tend to either compare like to other people of, how can I be sad and not feel joy when I have it better than other people? Or in my case, a lot of times it's, I have it better than I had it before, which is really the reason I say it's dangerous and unhealthy, is because sometimes that stops us from actually getting help. And B, we are judging ourselves. We are judging our own struggles. And that's just going to make it harder, right? Like it's already hard to struggle and to feel these feelings. But then on top of that, if we add judgment or shame to it, it makes everything heavier. And it's just going to, like, for me, it makes me feel like I'm drowning even more. So what I've been working on is not comparing, whether to others or to my past, and just accepting this, like, this is genuinely how I'm feeling. This is genuinely the stuff I'm struggling with, and it's okay. And then trying to find things that bring me joy, even if I don't feel like doing them in the moment, which is really hard because it's hard for me to find things right now that like really bring me joy. I'll give you an example. Because you've known me forever. I was the person that was a social butterfly.
Yes.
If there was a party,
oh yes, I
was there.
Yes.
If I walked into a party, I was the life of the party. I was
100%
the center of attention.
Yes.
I wasn't even trying to be the center of attention.
Yes.
And I know some people be like, no, that's just your personality. I just was always in it.
You made a party fun just by being there.
That's very sweet of you.
Yes.
Well, I am opposite now. I literally cringe at people inviting me to things. I'm not joking. And I've told all of my friends, like, it's not about you. It's not personal. But when I get invited to things now, I have to force myself to go. And it takes everything out of me not to cancel. I mean, and I cancel a lot, by the way, but it takes everything. I just got a text. I'm not going to say who. I just got a text this morning about somebody that's having a fun girls get together. And my first instinct years ago would have been like, oh, fun. I'm free that day.
Yeah.
I looked at my calendar. I was like, crap, I don't even have an excuse. Like, I don't even have a meeting that day. How am I going to say no? And then when I do force myself to go to places, I am opposite of center attention. And you've seen this actually with me recently.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, I will sort of stand in the corner.
Talk to one person. Be quiet.
Leave as early as possible. Yeah, it's like my personality has changed.
Yeah,
I used to be like, ah! And now I'm like, hi. Philip said that Philip, for anybody listening that doesn't know, that's my husband. He said that he thinks because of all the touring I've done and I still do speaking gigs that I get, and then we always do a meet and greet after. And I'm like, and you've seen me in meet and greets. It's not like a take a picture. No. I'm like hugging people and hearing their life stories. He's like, maybe you're on overload with people. Like, it's just like, you reached your capacity.
Cup is full.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's just that, because like I haven't traveled a lot recently. I still feel like I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything.
I guess this is the question. Do you feel like you know why? Or,
yeah. I think that I have an underlying little bit of a depression. I really do. And I know that because, again, I'm not finding joy in the things I used to find joy in. And I know I have really bad anxiety. The interesting thing about my anxiety is that in my first book, Hold On But Don't Hold Still, there's an entire chapter on worry. And I write about how my grandma was such a worrier. And then she was always like, you're so much like me, Kristina. Just please, this is the one thing I don't want you to be like me in. I don't want you to worry. And I write about worry. And I don't think I used the word anxiety once in there because I didn't realize I had anxiety. I just thought I worry a lot.
Yes.
Which, by the way, sadness and depression, not the same thing. Worry and anxiety, not the same thing.
Sure.
I think a lot of people who maybe don't have a lot of experience with mental health struggles, they kind of lump sadness and depression as the same thing.
Right.
Or worry and anxiety. It's not the same thing. And it's funny because my son, Luca, when he was going through his stuff, he actually diagnosed me. That's not, something.
He's
not a doctor.
But
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes. So I don't mean like technically diagnose me, but he was like, Mom, you have anxiety. And I was like, no, I have normal mom worry. And then talked to a therapist, and my therapist, I will never forget. I'm in this therapy session with a therapist that I've been seeing for a while. And he goes, wait, you didn't know that? Like he was so stunned that I didn't know I had anxiety. And then I realized, gosh, yeah. And so basically, the reason I say that is I still struggle with anxiety a lot. I do want to share some tips that have helped me today. But anxiety and depression play off each other often, right? And so when somebody is depressed, it can cause anxiety. When somebody is really anxious, it can cause depression. I think for me, my anxiety, because it can be so strong, might be the reason that depression shows up. I don't know. It's like one of those like chicken or egg, right? Things. Yeah, I guess what I wanted to do today is be honest. And I've always, from the beginning, I've been like, my first videos were about, I think one of the first like serious videos I made was about sharing about seeing a therapist when I was a student therapist, because I couldn't afford an actual licensed therapist, when I was a single mom, and telling him how, I'm crap and I hate myself and blah, blah, blah. So I've always been honest. But I think because so much of my focus lately has been talking about my son. By the way, if anyone's listening to this, hearing me for the first time, anything I share on here, in my books, my videos, anywhere, I have full permission from my kids. Right. So my son actually wrote our book, I Can Fix This, with me. But so much focus has been on that. And I've been hearing from so many parents who are supporting a child who's struggling. And I've been trying to help them and give them the advice that has helped me. By the way, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a mom who's sharing the mistakes I made and what has helped me. That I realized I haven't recently openly talked about. I'm kind of going through it too. So I'm trying to figure it out. And I also am really thankful for the tools I've had in the past, because it's been helpful to look back on, those days when it was really, really dark. By the way, one more thing I want to say. I do not have any suicidal thoughts. I don't have, and I did years ago when I was a single mom. I don't have those thoughts, but I do have the thoughts of what's the point? Some people call it, oh my gosh, I just forgot the name, because perimenopause, which by the way is probably also a really big reason why I'm feeling how I'm feeling. Because man, perimenopause, menopause. I was
actually going to say that.
If people think that's just hot flashes,
no, I know.
You need to read a book. Like you need to talk to a doctor.
Well, I think it's funny that you're talking about this, because I feel like that too. And I don't know if we've talked about this, because the new year just happened not too long ago. But I actually made my word for the new year joy and gratitude, because I was like, why am I have no reason to not have joy in my life. Yeah. Like I have a great life and I've got great kids. And why can't I enjoy the moment with them instead of worrying or being annoyed or whatever? I don't know. And so I wondered, maybe it's just perimenopause.
It is. It's okay. Well, two things. A, yes, that hormonal shift that happens. Right. I mean, we're bodies are nuts. Yeah. Yes. That's why I call it cougar puberty. Yes. But yes, it's going to affect mental. I mean, any gynecologist with actual expertise, which by the way, I hope you guys know this by now because there's been enough talk about it. OBGYNs, like when you study, you spend very little time on menopause, which pisses me off because most of the time is spent on like pregnancy, birth, all that stuff, which a lot of women don't even have babies, right? Sure. Every woman goes through perimenopause, menopause, and such little time is spent actually learning about that. So all that to say, perimenopause, menopause is going to affect your mental health, period. So I know a lot of it is that. But what you just said, maybe it's just perimenopause. That doesn't mean we shouldn't be addressing it either, right?
That's true.
Like, I
You're
don't
right.
want to
You're
say,
right.
well, it's just what my body's going through for the next 10, 15 years, by the way, because it's not like it lasts a year. So I'm just going to suck it up and hope that, hormone replacement therapy or whatever other ways I'm choosing to deal with it will help. We can do more, right? And we got to prioritize our mental health.
Yeah.
And because I've been in that place of having those suicidal thoughts in my past, and because I've seen my son suffer, I want to be proactive to not even get to that dark of a place. One thing that's helped me is looking back and going, I've managed this before.
Okay.
Like, I've gone through it. You know how I've talked in so many videos about my whole thing, how when I was struggling, I started adding right now to whatever I was going through.
Yes.
So, some examples would be like, I have a newborn baby and she's crying all the time during the night and I'm just not getting any sleep right now.
Right.
Or my teenager acts like he hates me right now. Or this divorce is so painful right now. Or even if it's something so permanent like a death, this grief that I'm feeling, this loss that I just experienced where I can't even get out of bed. I can't even get out of bed right now. Meaning right now is this heavy, heavy, heavy stuff, but it's right now. And to me, it's just a reminder of it's not permanent, right? So that has helped me a lot during those days of like, I don't feel like even hanging out with my friends right now. It's really hard to get out of bed right now. Because I think when we are going through a hard time, we're stuck. That's how it feels. It feels like you're stuck.
Yes.
And you can't get out. And for me, just adding right now has sort of removed that permanence of, oh my gosh, this is it. This is forever, right? So that's helped me. And then also, on days where I feel like I can't do it. I just can't do it. I cannot face parenting today. I cannot face all the craziness that's happening in the world. Let's just be honest. Like one thing I've done for mental health is I've stopped watching the news.
Well, me too.
Which we should talk about more because...
I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
Okay, remind me to get back to what I was just saying about I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about... I grew up with a dad who always said, you have to be aware of what's happening in the world. We cannot be those ignorant people that don't know it. And not just in our neighborhood, in our country. Like, know what's happening in the world.
Right.
And so I grew up that way. And so for me, when I decided, oh my gosh, because I try to be very self-aware and I try to really pay attention. I think this is important for everyone when my anxiety flares up or when my depression flares up, because then I can actually sort of have a map of like, oh, okay, I know this isn't good for me. Or even when I'm feeling better, oh, this really helped. And so I realized every time I listen or watch the news, I start feeling that. And, for people listening and not watching, it's like that boiling over feeling. And so I decided to stop. And I had to just be okay with, you know what? I don't want to be an ignorant human being. At the same time, I am useless if I am completely unhealthy. I am useless. So what I try to do now is instead of listening to the news or watching the news, because let's be honest, news is no longer just giving us facts and information.
No, it's entertainment.
Yes, it has become entertainment and it has become anger and it has become people fighting.
Polarizing?
Yes, it's not healthy.
No.
And same with social media. A lot of social media news stuff. There's a couple accounts that I follow that will just give you facts.
Yes.
I will check in with those every once in a while. And the other thing I found is for me, if I read the news and not read it from some random blogger that has their own bias, but just read the facts, I feel like, okay, I can stay somewhat informed without joining that circus, right?
Yes.
So that has helped.
That's what I do too.
That's really made a difference for me. But I think sometimes we have to go, fine, fine, I'll be ignorant, but at least I'll be here for my family. At least I'll be healthy and sane and productive in my life.
Well, you won't be ignorant because you're reading it.
Sure.
Something even if unbiased.
But
that's
let's
what
say I
do.
gave myself a month where I wasn't even going to read it.
Okay.
Let's just say I took
Sure.
that break. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's true.
And sometimes the stuff we're raised with, which I don't think my dad's advice was bad. I think it was good advice.
Of course.
But you also have to check in with yourself and go, hold on, am I okay? And if I'm not okay, that matters. Because as much as it matters what's happening in the world, it matters what's happening in my family. That's the only control I have is over myself and the way I impact those around the people immediately in my family, right? And my friends. And I have to be healthy for them. Like I owe it to them to be healthy for them.
I think if you find yourself cursing at the news because of something you just heard, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
That maybe you might need to take a break.
And also I do want to say there are issues that I'm very passionate about. There's a way to still have empathy and have passion and, like, for example, I still vote.
Of course.
Because I think that's important. And I still have places where I donate.
Yes.
So if it's not that I'm going to be ignorant and just pretend, like not care that there are people in the world that are suffering. I can still write that check or volunteer my time to organizations, or there's still a way to contribute and make the world better while not poisoning ourselves with constant
Right.
But what I was going to say about the reminder I give myself of when I feel like I can't do it anymore. I can't face this. I can't face this crazy world. I can't face parenting dilemmas. I can't. I shared in my second book how when and this always makes me cry. We actually made a video about it, which I think was really powerful. How when I was giving birth to my oldest son, and I was one of those crazy people that decided to do it unmedicated. I'm going to tell you right now, in my late 40s, would I, let's say I, in my late 40s, was going to have a baby. Mm-hmm. Would I do it unmedicated? Hell no. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I did it.
I don't know. I might do it unmedicated.
Well, you are crazy.
I'm older and wiser.
So I did it unmedicated, and I remember I was in really, really hardcore labor for 11 hours, and then it was time to push. And at that point, I was exhausted because anybody has been through it. The contractions, it's exhausting. Plus the contractions woke me up at 1 a.m. So I didn't even get a full night's sleep before this. So I am just miserable. I'm exhausted. I feel like, when they tell you to push, and I was picturing this cute little round ball. It felt like a brick. And I remember literally feeling like it's not going to go, it's not going to fit. You're going to have to literally rip me open, which the baby did rip me open, but that's a whole nother story. But and so I'm laying there sweating, and I was crying, and I just kept going, I can't do it. 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 And I remember my sweet midwife, kind of leaned close to me, and she whispered in my ear, but you're already doing it. You're already doing it. And then within a few minutes, I met my son. And I don't know what was happening in my life years later. And I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know if it might have not been any serious mental health struggle. It might have just been a frustrating day with a toddler or whatever. And I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I remembered her words. I hadn't thought about her words in years. And I remembered her words, but you're already doing it. It makes me cry right now. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're already doing it. You're already doing it. And that's a reminder I give myself now on days when I'm struggling with my mental health. And I feel like I freaking can't do it. It's too much. Either I'm feeling really depressed today, or this anxiety is just so loud. I can't do it. I just remind myself, but you're already doing it. You're already doing it. You got up this morning. You forced yourself out of bed. You maybe even didn't take a shower, but you put on that deodorant. I put on a bra today.
Good.
You're already doing it. You're loving your children. Man, I'll tell you something. I am far, far from a perfect mom. I make mistakes pretty much daily, but I'll tell you one thing. My children know they're loved. Mm-hmm. I'm already doing it. That's the most important thing I can do as a parent, is make sure my children know that they are supported and loved. I'm already doing it. Mm. I'm doing it. I'm showing up for myself. I am going to therapy. I am using the tools that I know have helped in the past. I'm already doing it. And so just telling myself that sometimes feels so empowering, because mental health struggles will make you feel like a failure. They will lie to you and they will tell you that you're a useless, worthless failure. And if you remind yourself, it's just right now, it's not permanent. I've been through this before and I got through it and I felt joy before. I know I can feel it again. And then B, I'm already doing it. And you know what? My best is not going to look the same every day, right? Some days, like when I wasn't struggling, my best looked like accomplishing a million things, getting up early in the morning and making a nice breakfast for my kids and getting things done on my to-do list and being that social butterfly and showing up for my friends and everybody else and exercising, whatever. Some days my best is going to be barely rolling out of bed, staying in my pajamas all day, looking like a hot mess, and accomplishing nothing except staying alive and being gentle with myself. And you know what? Check that off my to-do list. That's amazing. I can feel accomplished on that day because life is freaking hard. And if I got out of bed and I showed up for myself and I loved my family, I'm not a failure and I'm not a loser, and I'm not going to allow anxiety or depression to tell me that lie. I will not. So, should we get into some couple practical tips that help me?
Practical tips. I love it.
Okay. So one thing I told my teenagers when they went through their struggles, especially you guys know if you've listened to me for a while, but my oldest son struggles. I said, I think you need to write a list when you're feeling good, when you're having one of those better days. Write a list of things that bring you joy, or write a list of things that bring you peace, or just make you feel a little better. And it can be silly. It doesn't have to be anything profound. It can be anything from, I love certain music. So create a playlist, right, of certain music that just puts you in a good mood. Music is so powerful, right? Or he used to take boxing lessons. Just going in the garage and just punching that boxing that bag. Like that makes me feel better. Write a list. Because when you're really, really down, it is hard to even think of anything, right? Mm-hmm. Again, because depression makes us feel stuck. Mm-hmm. Have that list in writing so that you can look at the list and you can say, I'm going to pick one thing from this list to do right now. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote a list for myself, and it has playing the piano, which I rarely do. I have a playlist that makes me feel better. Mm-hmm. I have this little path near my house that I love that I walk on, and it's just so quiet there. And I put in my favorite podcast or music and I just walk. So I force myself to do that. There's a bunch of things up to like really, bigger things like, schedule that therapy appointment ASAP, like sooner than when it was scheduled for, or set up a meeting with a psychiatrist to discuss maybe getting back on meds or whatever it is. But have a list and make sure that that list has things you can do right now. Because sometimes, if your list is like, I need to take a weekend away with my husband or my friends, you can't do that right now. But you can do that playlist. You can take that walk. You can call a friend, whatever it is. Have that list. That has helped me a lot. Another thing that's helped me with my anxiety, and I do this a few different ways. I used to do, when anxiety showed up, I would shelf it. I would be like, okay, I'm going to put this on a shelf. And I'm going to worry about it later. I can't worry about it now because right now I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to spend time with my child. I'm going to focus on work, but I'm going to put it on a shelf. And I literally pictured like being in a room with these shelves, and I just, that's a worry I have. Okay, I'm going to put it on a shelf. Oh, that's a stress I have. I'm going to put it on a shelf. So even if you don't have deep anxiety, if you're just struggling with like life worries or stresses, that has helped me. I also recently came up with an analogy. You know me, I'm always like, I have to like come up with analogies to get through life. That really helps when it's like severe anxiety. So anxiety is not necessarily a bad emotion, right? Like anxiety is there to protect us.
Right.
Anxiety can actually save us in a lot of situations in life. So I think of anxiety as a bodyguard, okay? And that bodyguard is there to protect me. But my bodyguard is really freaking annoying. It's one of those bodyguards. It's like, wait, I want to do everything. Okay, I want to run your schedule. I want to tell you how to parent. Can I also be your work secretary? Please, 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 please. Oh, can I film your videos? Oh, can I be your therapist? Can I be literally, those people that are like, I want to do it all. I'm qualified for everything. And they're not. They're not qualified for everything. Right. So my bodyguard is only qualified to protect me from actual harm.
Right.
So I picture this bodyguard, and he is trying to run my whole company. Okay. I am the CEO of my life. My life is my company, and I'm the CEO. My bodyguard wants to be the CEO. And what I used to do in the past with anxiety, my bodyguard, is I used to allow my bodyguard to run my life. I was like, oh, you want to be the CEO? Sure. You tell me what to do and I'll follow. You tell me what decisions to make. You tell me whether to get out of bed or not. You tell me whether I'm capable of handling this or this or that, and I'll follow. And I've had to switch it and go, no, 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 no. I'm the CEO. You work for me.
Yes.
And so what I will say, sometimes out loud in a grocery store, and people probably think I'm nuts, I will say, I'll let you know if I need you. And it's just a simple sentence. Whenever I feel the anxiety coming up and I know I'm not in any imminent danger, I realize my bodyguard is trying to play parts that it's not qualified for. It does not have the education or the skills for. And I will just say, I'll let you know if I need you. It's my way of not ignoring it. It's my way of acknowledging this is how I feel, because I think pushing it aside and being like, no, 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 I'm not anxious. That's not going to help, right? Suppressing feelings never leads to healing, period. So acknowledge you're there. Anxiety, I know you want to rule my life and make some decisions for me. I'll let you know if I need you. Another way of almost like shelving it, right? But it's so empowering because it reminds me, I am the CEO. I run this show. And I know you're trying to butt in. Not right now.
And can I maybe add too, because I have suffered with debilitating anxiety. I mean, multiple times in my life, where I had no control over what my body was doing, okay? But I did get to the point where I had to be like, okay, I just had a panic attack, but that's not going to stop me from moving forward and doing what I was going to do.
Yes.
You are not going to make me go home, hide, or anything like that. You are not that important. And yes, I'm the CEO of my company.
Exactly.
So, nope, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to move forward.
Yes. Yes. Not allowing that anxiety to lead, rule, make decisions, just put it in its place.
Yeah.
That's been really helpful for me. And then also, I think the way I was raised, and I don't know if it's my culture in Croatia, because I feel like this is actually everywhere in the world, but it was very much like we don't want to disappoint people. And when you're struggling with mental health struggles, you feel like you're constantly disappointing someone because you're either down and then you feel like a burden, or you cancel plans like I do often, or whatever. Like you feel like a disappointment. And we've been raised with this, like, you can't disappoint anyone. And I decided to stop asking myself, oh, will I disappoint that person? And start asking myself, will I disappoint myself? Because I don't want to disappoint myself. And that doesn't mean that I'm always going to, well, it goes two ways, right? In one way, am I going to disappoint myself if I just stay in bed all day and don't even try to at least get out of bed? I don't have to accomplish everything on my to-do list, but just get out of bed and do something that I know is healthy for me. Go for that walk, make that therapy appointment, eat something healthy, make a phone call and talk to a friend, whatever it is. I don't want to disappoint myself. And then on the other hand, also giving myself permission to have those bad days. Am I going to disappoint myself if I'm constantly just living for other people's approval and pushing myself too much and making sure everybody else is happy and being a people pleaser, instead of going, hold on, am I okay? I don't want to disappoint myself. And it's something I've actually told my kids. I remember Matea, my daughter, I think she was still in high school, and she said something. She wanted to tell me something, but she was scared to tell me. So I'm scared to tell you this. And I said, why are you scared to tell me? Because I've tried really hard over the years to build a relationship with my kids, open up to me. And I said, why are you so scared? And she said, I just don't want to disappoint you. And I said, Matea, I don't want you to disappoint yourself. I guarantee you in this lifetime, You will say things or do things that you might feel will disappoint me, but you cannot live for my approval. You can't live for my approval. You have to make sure you're not disappointing yourself. Because how many of us have lived our lives making sure that we don't disappoint our parents at the expense of our own mental health well-being.
That's deep.
At the expense of our own dreams, desires, goals, health, right? I just don't want my mom to be disappointed. And so even with my kids, I've been like, I don't want you to disappoint yourself. Because if we're trying really hard as parents to raise healthy, confident kids, they're going to make good decisions if they don't want to disappoint themselves. They know right from wrong. They know when they're making stupid decisions. I know when I'm making stupid decisions, right? But just even taking that pressure off myself of having to make sure that everybody else is not disappointing me. I've said this before. Every morning I have to make a decision. I'm either going to be happy, and I'm not talking about shallow happiness, that genuine happiness that feels like peace and mental health, or I'm going to live for other people's approval. I cannot have both. I've tested it out for 40 some years for you guys. You're welcome. You cannot have both. You can either be mentally healthy or you can live for other people's approval. I literally have a long list here of other things I was going to talk about with my mental health. So we might have to do a part 2 eventually because we're out of time. Yeah. But here, I'm just going to leave with this. If you are struggling, whether it is new and you're like, I thought I was one of those people that never struggled with mental health, what is happening? Or whether it is something that has been ongoing, or whether it is something you struggled with decades ago and you thought everything was good and now it's back. Number one, you are so normal and there is nothing wrong with you. I want to start with that because that is the thing I hear the most from people, and especially ever since my son and I wrote our book and opened up about his mental health struggles, I suddenly started getting DMs on Instagram from teenagers, and they break my heart because almost every single one will have some version of, I don't understand why I'm so weird, or why can't I just be normal, or what is wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. It would be weird if we as humans, with all the pressures and expectations and everything that's happening in the world and our own stuff, right? If we were 100% great all the time, that would be weird. Struggling is not weird. So you are normal, you are okay. Get all the help you need. Find things that help you that might be completely different than what somebody else needs. Seek professional help, just like you would if you were having heart issues, or if you were diagnosed with cancer, or if you were having a migraine or whatever. You wouldn't just be like, what's wrong with me? Oh my gosh, something's wrong with me. I'm so weird. Why am I not strong enough? You wouldn't do that. You would go see a doctor. You would go get the help. Get the help. We're going to keep talking about mental health. I will never shut up about it because I think it's the only way to just normalize it and get people talking about it and get help.
Yeah, that's good. Man, I got a lot out of this today.
By the way, if you need instant support of questions and it's 3 a.m. and you're just like, I need to text a friend, but I don't want to wake up my friends, I have an app called Hope and Humor Daily. It has a chat feature where you can literally send a message and you will immediately get a reply. It won't be one of those generic, just call this number. It will help you process stuff. So Hope and Humor Daily. Also, if you have questions that you want to leave a voicemail and we will play it in one of the future podcasts. You don't have to leave your name if you don't want to. You can call. Kat will tell you the number.
Yep. The number to call is 855-912-4175. And you can leave Kristina a voice message with your question and she might answer it.
Yeah, we might play it on future podcasts. But if you do need I need support right now. I need some advice right now. It doesn't even have to be about mental health. It can be about your 2-year-old that just that did something that you didn't read about in those books, how to raise children. Your toddler did that thing that you're like, is my kid the only one that just keeps licking furniture? No, my kid did that too. Anyway, you can go to the app Hope and Humor Daily. And also you can find me on social media, pretty much everywhere at Kristina with a K, Kuzmic, Kuzmic. I love you all. I love you all. You're doing so much better than you even realize.